Good evening, class. This is Clinton Poteet, and this is going to be my cage fight here. So we'll start with Westlaw. So right off the bat, going into Westlaw, you have to input a client ID number as you would have with any client matter. It could be, as you can see, any number of or any variation of these 6 digits before or after the hyphen. It just depends on the attorney, how much work's going on in the firm, so on and so forth. So we'll click Continue, and we'll start out with something easy. Basically, we'll start with, how about the elements of negligence? What are the elements of negligence? So pulled that up, and since I already had Tennessee and include related federal selected, considering that's where we're at is Tennessee, then it's the jurisdiction in hand automatically, unless it's changed. So right here we got, in order to establish a prima facie claim of negligence, basically defined as failure to exercise reasonable care, a plaintiff must establish the following essential elements. So to establish prima facie case, you've got to must have a duty of care owed by defendant to plaintiff, conduct below the applicable standard of care that amounts to a breach of that duty, and injury or loss, cause and fact, and proximate or legal cause. And these are the landmark cases, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court of Tennessee at Jackson, that essentially are key precedent for this case, or for this elements for negligence. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty simple. As you know, you have on the side statutes, court rules, practical law, secondary forms, and aside from the, as you can see on the left-hand side, all of these different materials available. You have your other jurisdictions, reported, unreported, different topics. Criminal, civil, intellectual property, other various things that can be useful. But we'll jump back here to the front, or the home page, I guess, of Westlaw. So, as you know, we all know how to access federal materials, state materials, what's in them. Different statutes, different United States codes in the federal, different circuits. Tools have always been pretty cool as well. Something I really like about Westlaw, we don't have it on our account now through school, but we have public record searches. So essentially what you do is you type in first name, last name, what other piece of information you have, and it'll pull up a list of people, and you pick out the one that is most related to the information you input. And another cool thing is the company investigator. Now, at the company investigator, you have, different things. I've never tried it here, so let's try, I don't know if we have it on the company or school site. So we don't. We don't have access to that through the school Westlaw. But what it'll do is it'll pull up essentially everything you would find online through the Secretary of State and some other information. It's like doing first off, you'll get stuff like the registered agent, primary office, different things of that nature. And the really cool thing about it is it has essentially it's like doing a public record search on someone, but for just a company. So Westlaw Classic, pretty cool. I like it. So we can even do elements, same sentence, negligence as well, and it'll pull up the same deal. What are the elements of negligence? Elements of a Section 1983 claim. And essentially what that is, if it comes up, it'll have normally what it would do is it would have the elements of negligence. Nonetheless, it's still pretty helpful. So that's Westlaw Classic in a nutshell for things that are beneficial. I like it very much. I use it a lot. As you can see from the homepage, you have a variety of different, avenues to go about, all content, forms, proposed legislation, business law center, different intellectual property, different avenues to take upon, especially the federal materials, state materials, practice areas, tools. Really cool. And then now we'll go to the Lexis or Nexus Uni. So there's no real client matter. That's one thing that I noticed. So it's going to be a little more difficult to track your progress regarding what matter you're working on, I think. Since I've logged in, I'll just start here. We'll say, what are the elements of negligence? So it pulls it up right there, the elements of negligence. And it's got a lot of different things. So it says, elements of a negligence claim after a motor vehicle accident. So this is talked about negligence specific to accidents. And then, here we go. Traditional common law elements of negligence are, different bits and pieces that are similar but not quite like the elements seen in Westlaw, where it just basically has the elements listed here and key cases that set precedent. And Nexus Uni, it just seems to be that you would have to read all the cases more so. And that's not necessarily bad. There could be a way to make that more simplistic, however, I haven't seen it. And of course, on the left-hand side, you still got cases. And for here, you've got all different types. United States, obviously. And then you've got different ones in Canada, Hong Kong, New Zealand. Pretty cool. Westlaw only deals with, from my understanding, United States. And, I don't really see a need for there to know Hong Kong law or United Kingdom law. I can see how it could be beneficial from the United Kingdom, perhaps England, common law, selling the ocean blue and everything. So I could see that, perhaps, but that's a far stretch. Aside from that, you got different statutes and legislation, the same thing, all different types of countries. Company and financial, you got to get that. We don't have that in this plan. So just different things, briefs, pleadings, essentially the same thing. Instead of it being on the home page, as you would see with Westlaw here, you've got briefs, trial court documents, things of that nature would encompass pleadings. It's all right here on the left-hand side once you type something in up top, like what are the elements of negligence. So, that said, we'll go back to, if it'll pop up here, we'll go right back. I'll try guided search. We'll do the same thing. Cases, we'll see federal cases. We'll type in Miranda versus Arizona. And let's see what we got. So it pulls that up immediately. And it's got different bits and pieces of it here and there. It touches on different subjects. But the main case would appear to be right here. And right here on Westlaw, when you type in Miranda v. Arizona, it pops up and immediately. You can click it offhand, and it'll take you right to it. Here, you can do everything that you need. You click it, and it'll pull it up. It just seems to be a little bit more steps involved. The top here is going to be where the search, not necessarily the search bar, but I guess we can call it the ribbon. If you're familiar with Microsoft Office, the ribbon here is going to be similar to the ribbon you would see up top here in Westlaw Classic. I mean, it's almost identical. You know, go to, prior history, case summary. You just have to maybe one extra step to get to it, since it doesn't look how it would look up here. You know, over here you've got citing references. You just hover over it and everything is there. So it's essentially got the same thing, maybe just one extra step that's trivial in order to connect with it. And let's try one other thing. So we did elements, same sentence, negligence. Let's try elements, negligence. So it essentially pulls up the same thing. What are the elements of a negligence claim after a motor vehicle accident? It just essentially pulls up the same narrative, the same language. One other thing I did see that was pretty cool. Well, we'll try down here in business. You can, here you do have the, you've got access to doing a public record search, I would suppose. So, but we'll do a company information first, and we'll try Stewart Brothers Hardware LLC. And I choose them because they've always been pretty cool and just a local hardware store. And Bartlett, and I worked there when I was younger, and just cool people. So, Stewart Brothers Hardware LLC, we'll give that a search. It doesn't pull it up here. It doesn't give the company information. But what we'll try is an executive profile. So as it says Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. Hopefully I spelled that right. Yeah, there we go. So you can pull it up here. You know, Warren Buffett at BerkshireHathaway.com. That's wherever all this information, you know, it says employment history, additional information, this and that. Wherever all this was gathered, gynecology specialists, you know, it has different bits of information you would see about someone as in Nexus Uni as you would see in Westlaw for public record search. It's just got all types of things, types of information you can go to up here, and it'll top a document. That's really about it. There's no, in Westlaw, when you do a public record search, you do you've got some stuff that comes up here on the left-hand side, and it shows basically everything regarding what's available in the plan, from bankruptcy filings to criminal charges to property owned, licenses owned, whether it be hunting, fishing, Class C, whatever, you know. And, you know, it's interesting. It's pretty cool. I enjoy it. The only thing is I enjoy Westlaw more. And I think that's just because I have used it for so long. There are certain things that I like that stick out immediately, which is if you type up a case, it goes to it immediately once you click it, instead of, you know, having an extra step or two. And the same thing that applies to, you know, looking up certain matters regarding public records and company investigative reports. I know we don't necessarily have those on Westlaw, but I find them incredibly beneficial, and I like the public record search in Westlaw, despite there not being an ability to show you on this account through school, more so than the executive search, public record search that you would do in Nexus Uni here. Both great programs. I just prefer Westlaw more.